To those who are very wealthy, their mindset is that rules do not apply to them. The rich and the influential see their wealth as an entitlement to bend the rules as they see fit. Recently, a secret has surfaced regarding the Trump Organization that speaks to that privilege and power mentality. It's been discovered that the Trump Organization installed a very distinctive clock on Fifth Avenue right in front of the Trump Tower without applying for a permit or paying a fee. Well, color me surprised. What's also unbelievable is that New York City inspectors never noticed. Really? So how in the hell does a 16-foot clock tower appear on a major city sidewalk in front of the Trump Tower without being noticed? Oh boy. Anyway, welcome to That's Life, I Swear. This podcast is about life's happenings, topics that conjure up such words as intriguing, frightening, life-changing, inspiring, and more. I'm Rick Barron, your host. Here's the rest of this story. Donald Trump's alleged criminal activity now total 4 indictments that include 91 felony charges overall. Now, there are rumors floating around that more indictments could be coming. Well, why not? It's Donald Trump. It just wouldn't be a complete day if Trump didn't do something again. The minor dispute between Trump and the officials in New York City has just been reignited, and it was something that could have been avoided. You know, just like the returning of all the classified national defense documents from the White House when Trump was asked the first time. But I digress. So you see, the problem is that New York City's Department of Transportation is in dispute with the Trump Organization over unauthorized ornamental clock standing on a public sidewalk in front of the Trump Tower without a permit. The back and forth between Trump's company and the city continued until January of 2017, when Trump was sworn into office as president and the Manhattan skyscraper became a security lockdown zone. As a result, the issue about the clock was not brought up during his presidency. So how did we get here? Like every major city in the United States, tax dollars get collected from every citizen. Now take the great city of New York. The Department of Transportation collects millions of dollars from property owners in return for permission to place street furniture on, over, or under city sidewalks. Now, the list is pretty extensive. It includes, but it is not limited to signs, lampposts, benches, planters, permanent trash receptacles, delivery ramps, underground vaults, and almost anything imaginable. Yes, even ornamental clocks. Such a clock sits in clear view on the sidewalk at 725 Fifth Avenue. I mean, you just can't miss it. It stands 16 feet tall and made of aluminum with gold and black accents. It has 4 faces, each bearing the surname of its owner, Donald J. Trump. Of course it would. Vanity be thy name. Now, in defense of the Department of Transportation, who are responsible for overseeing public space across all 5 New York boroughs, keeping track of all structures on sidewalks in a city as vast as New York is quite challenging. Scott Castell, a spokesman for the department, explained that there are approximately 12,000 miles of sidewalk in the city. He noted that many property owners do follow the rules, but some structures appear without the city's knowledge. Okay, I guess we should cut these guys a little slack. Construction on the Trump Tower began in 1979. In February of 1983, Donald Trump unveiled Trump Tower to the world. Now, the building is a gleaming 68-story residential and commercial skyscraper located at the corner of 5th Avenue and 56th Street. Over the years, the tower became synonymous with luxury and extravagance. I must admit, I've seen this tower when I was in New York once, and it's pretty impressive inside. As for the clock, well, that was installed in 2009, shortly after Donald Trump took ownership of Trump Tower. At the time, the Trump Organization did not apply for a New York City Department of Transportation permit. Now, the city requires property owners to obtain a permit and pay a fee before installing any kind of street furniture, such as a clock. Now, the story here is that the Trump Organization has never explained why they didn't obtain a permit for the clock. Trump Playbook Rule number 23, when in doubt, act dumb. Now, Trump has mastered this technique very well. Now, some have speculated that the Trump Organization thought they didn't even need one, while others have suggested that they may have just tried to avoid paying the fee altogether. Now, the former excuse smacks with arrogance, while the latter reason is very believable. The Trump organization's brazen installation of this distinctive clock without obtaining a permit or paying the necessary fees raises questions about the extent of the privilege, the power of money, and the effectiveness of regulatory mechanisms in a city renowned for its stringent rules and regulations. Whatever the reason, the clock has remained in place for over 14 years without any enforcement from the New York City Department of Transportation. Now, in 2022, the Department of Transportation finally went back to their file cabinet and found the follow-up after the 2020 election file and sent a letter to the Trump organization demanding payment of the permit fee. The Trump organization has not yet responded to the letter. Ah, yes, Trump Playbook Rule 147, stall. The city first asked the Trump organization about the clock in 2015, demanding the company to remove it within 30 days. Now, supposedly, that's when engineers with the Trump organization filed for a permit to keep the clock. So they say. However, transportation records don't indicate that the permit for the clock had ever actually been received or obtained city approval. Now, when Trump filed to run for the presidency, the clock's lack of permit took a backseat to bigger issues at the building, like figuring out how to secure it for a president-elect in 2020. City officials told the Times that the clock had effectively been granted a stay. Now here we are today. The Trump company could apply for a permit and complete the process by July 19th of 2024. Ironically, that's one day after the Republican National Convention, at which Trump hopes to be nominated. Ah yes, stall again. Timing is everything with this guy. Now, the city has calculated the potential fees to be paid for the amount overdue on the permit. Let's see. Based on a fee of $300 per month, minus any penalties or interest, 14 years, that's $3,600 per year, and that comes out to about $50,000 and change. Sounds good, but, and you knew there had to be a but with Trump, the city cannot demand payment retroactively on a permit that was never applied for or issued, a small technicality. Not to give Trump any credit here, but what is so astounding about this story is the apparent lapse in oversight by city inspectors and regulatory authorities. I mean, such a significant alteration to a prominent building should have triggered the alarm bells immediately. The fact that it went unnoticed for years raises serious questions about the efficiency and effectiveness of regulatory mechanisms in New York City. Now, I wonder if Trump cashed in on a favor here. No, I don't think so. He's a pretty stand-up dude. Now, why does this matter? The unauthorized clock installation raises questions about the effectiveness of the New York City Transportation Department. If they were unaware of the clock for over 14 years, it suggests that the process is not working as intended, or they're just afraid of a very small man. Just a thought. The Trump Tower is a symbol of the Trump organization's disregard for the rules. It is also a reminder of the need for greater enforcement of the city's permitting process. In addition to the legal issues, the unauthorized installation of the Trump Tower clock has also raised concerns about the aesthetics of the city. Some have argued that the clock is an eyesore that distracts from Fifth Avenue's beauty. Others have defended the clock, saying that it's a unique and iconic landmark. Well, you be the judge. Now, what can we learn from this story? What's the takeaway? The audacious installation of a 16-foot clock at Trump Tower without the necessary permits or payments underscores the stark contrast with the privilege, the power of money within the New York City's Hall and their Department of Transportation. It serves as a stark reminder that even in a city known for its harsh rules and regulations, the wealthy and influenced can sometimes bend the rules to their advantage. In this case, with Trump, it's the norm. Well, there you go, my friends. That's life, I swear. For further information regarding the material covered in this episode, I invite you to visit my website, which you can find on either Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, for show notes, calling out key pieces of content mentioned, and the episode transcript. As always, I thank you for listening and your interest. Be sure to subscribe here or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. See you soon.